Hi, everybody. This is Happy Fun Music Time, a special music quarantine podcast. This is a special myself and Alex Alice are doing called Diamonds in the Rough. I think we're going with that name. Yeah. Um, so the first album we're going to be featuring, we're picking albums that we find are underappreciated, is Essentially Eventually by pop punk band Frontside. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Frontside, Alex?
Okay, let me hold on. Okay, Frontside. So, this album actually, you turned me onto this band, and I would never have discovered them were it not for your influence. This Frontside, to me, I saw a YouTube comment recently on their very charmingly low-budget video for Ground Pound the Pillars, which is one of the songs we're going to be talking about
That video was
today. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of hilarious, and I really appreciate how earnest it is. And we'll get to it. Anyway, I saw a comment on that video, which basically said this band is Fallout Troy, which to me is kind of appropriate. They sound like a mixture of the good parts of Fall Out Boy, namely the catchy choruses,
the vocals.
The vocals are the most obvious one. This guy sounds like Patrick Stump, and I mean that in a very positive way. So this band mixes those good elements of Fall Out Boy with the technical prowess and kind of crazy guitar work and frenetic drumming of Fall of Troy, and it really works. I think it works because they are really good songwriters. Sorry, I was saying, quick sidebar, I have Kraft Dinner cheese in my throat right now, hence the frequent
the cheese
frogs that are just popping out.
This is a COVID-free podcast.
Yeah, I have COVID. No, it's not even actually, to call it cheese is a misnomer. I have powder, I guess the watered Kraft Dinner cheese powder stuck to coating the inside of my throat right now. Anyway, the singer of this band certainly doesn't, because he sounds great across this whole album. And I've had this album on repeat now for probably the last 2 weeks, and every song goes hard. Every song is great, and we are going to, in this Diamonds in the Rough special new series we're doing, talk about each song, maybe about the order, maybe about different ways we can interpret the songs. We're going to kind of go in depth and talk about a very underappreciated record. And I should also say we're going to alternate picks in this series. This was my pick. I am not going to spoil what's coming up for the next one with your pick, but we will soon find out. Anyway, what do you think about Frontside? You have known them for longer than me, so I'm curious.
So I stumbled upon this band by chance when I was just kind of lurking in music forum, and this album was there, and it was labeled under a bunch of genres I was really into. So it's a pop punk album, it's a prog rock album, post hardcore, math rock. It listed all those, and I was just like, hell yeah, this sounds like my jam. And I think the first thing I heard and even saw was actually that Ground Pound the Pillars music video. Great video, and I don't know, it was super fun. The song is super catchy, and I don't know, those little lead parts they have in the song that are sort of like pseudo solo parts, that's super cool. And the guy's vocals really fly out at you, very strong, reminiscent of Patrick Stump, but I think this guy writes better vocal melodies, at least now, over Patrick. I'm partial to the first two Fall Out Boy albums, but I mean, nowadays I would take this guy any day over him, and I don't actually know the fellow's name, and it doesn't even say here. So
I'm looking at their Facebook too, and there's no names on it at all. And they say that they're from North Carolina, EST 2008, so they've been going at it for 12 years. So I don't know what his name is either. And I would agree with you on the Fall Out Boy comment there, but I also I have to say that I don't really like Fall Out Boy
At all, eh?
As a band, well, I mean, I think that they have a couple of catchy hits. I mean, I can't say "Sugar We're Going Down" is anything but insanely catchy. Um, and I think that I'm trying to think of other songs off the top of my head. What was that other? I hate the song "Dance Dance." That is such an annoying song.
Fair.
Don't even get me started on that one. Yeah, like Our Lawyers Sued Us, whatever that song is called, was all right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the
not to make
super
this all
long
about
titles.
yeah, another band. But I was just going to say that I actually like this band a lot more than Fall Out Boy,
I
because
agree.
the one thing I think I like in Fall Out Boy is Patrick Stum's vocals. The rest of the band to me is super throwaway, and I don't care. But I think he's got a great voice, and so this is like taking the one element I like and mixing it with a bunch of other good things. So
Oh
how
yeah,
is that? That's basic math. How is that going to go wrong?
no, I feel that for sure. And yeah, he's backed up by like very kind of lively, technical, and I don't know, well written instrumentation. Like you can tell this band has spent like a long time honing its craft, especially they're established in 2008. I think that was time well spent. Just practicing, refining their playing and their songwriting, and it comes out culminating in 10 really catchy kind of mathy pop punk tracks. Um, yeah, I think they're a three piece, and I think what is it? The front he I think he tracked all the parts. So props to him, super talented, and the bass player and the drummer, they keep up with them, and they're super lively.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all really talented. What was your favorite song off this? Let's why don't we just start off the bat with that?
That's a tough question. My favorite song on this album. So I'm looking. I got the tracks open right now on my beautiful iTunes account, and I actually I think that my favorite song on this album might be well, okay. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give
Fair.
two. So I'm gonna say the opening song and the closing song might be my two favorite on this. So the title track is the first song, and then a song called "Walking in Tempo" is the second one. I think those
Yeah.
two are maybe my favorites, but all the stuff that's in between is really good too. So there's no song on here that I would say is below, say, a 3.5, 4 out of 5 on the good old rate your music scale. Um, so yeah, I mean, what would you say is your favorite song on here?
I'm gonna have to give you two as well. Um, Actually, number one, I think across all these, the one I go back to the most is actually Melatonin, the second last
Oh,
song.
okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. It starts off super catchy, um, has soft parts, has techie parts. There's this really cool kind of techie guitar harmony bridge that I'm really huge on. Um,
Hmm.
that's near the last part of the song, and I don't know that. I feel like that was their best performance of this formula they've got going on across the album. Um,
Hmm.
I I like the title slash opening track a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think that pulls the listener in right away, and I feel like I have to mention Almost There as well.
Yeah,
The
that's a great
ending to
one.
that song might be my favorite part of the album.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'll go with Melatonin. That's a really good track.
Well, that's an interesting pick. I hadn't considered that for a favorite, but I like that choice, and I also think this is a good segue to go into kind of the dissection of the songs, if we want to
Sure.
call it that. So, why don't we just start at the beginning? So the first song is essentially, eventually, it's the opening track. Um, I will pose to you a question. Do you like? We've talked a little bit about it, but let's
Yeah.
go a little more in depth. Do you like this song in its position as the? Is it a good opening track, and then is it a good track within its own right? So how does it work in the sequencing of the album, and also as a song itself? What do you think? What stood out to you? What could have been better? Just comment on the song.
Okay. I'll just start with on it in its own right. It's a very good song. It's an excellent song. Um, if I was a producer or like if I was in this band or for whatever reason, I would almost open the album up with Ground Pound the Pillars if it was my
Ah,
pick. I would just switch those two, but that would just be for my listening, because I think it's not the most immediate song on the album. I would say Ground Pound the Pillars or even Melatonin is more immediate than it. But I don't know. It has a short intro, kind of lulls you in, and then it has that huge like pseudo chorus. I want to say that's like 25 seconds in, where you sort of get the first taste of his vocals, where he's sort of belting those lines out. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. That's, I don't know, that the good thing about it as an opener is that they kind of show their hand with that in the first track, because I think that's one of the highlights of the album. If I had to do like a top 5 parts, I would throw that in there for sure. Yeah, it's one of the better songs on the album. It's excellent. You get a little taste of the instrumentation, of the vocals, especially here. I think this is one of the more vocally driven songs of the bunch. Yeah, I think it's a great opener. I think Ground Pound the Pillars would have been my choice as an opener, but I'm not in this band, so I don't get to decide that. Yeah, how do you feel about this track? What are your thoughts?
So I think that's an interesting point you bring up about the immediacy. I like this song as an opener on a thematic level.
Okay.
Because for one thing, the fact that it opens with that fade in guitar, the when I'll say, then the thing comes in. I think that speaks to a kind of cyclical nature in this song, and maybe that this album is trying to get to more broadly by calling itself essentially eventually. It's almost seems to me to be speaking to some kind of cyclicality, whether I'm not sure what it's referring to, whether that's about the genre they're playing or the band itself or a personal experience or something. But the fact that this song opens with the fading in guitars and then ends with the fading out of the track itself, right? I think that's a microcosm of the broader theme of the record, which is, some kind of circular relationship of some sort. And so on a thematic level, I think this song works as again a microcosmic encapsulation of the broader themes of the whole record, which are going to follow. So on that level, I think it's really successful. As a song itself, I think it's really fantastic. I think it might be the most straightforward song on the record. I think it's probably the most classic pop punk maybe that we get, which is not to say they don't infuse it with some of their idiosyncrasies and their technical abilities, but those verses are pretty standard pop punk, elevated by the vocals. That chorus is, as you mentioned, very great. It's catchy. And then, to me, the best part of the song is that ending riff, which the band goes into. They have that little kind of technical guitar section, and then there's like the drum fill, and then that chord progression comes in. That chord progression is what a amazing simple chord progression that is. It gives me huge kind of 90s pop punk vibes, but in a really proficient and kind of substantial way, and they're playing it really well. And with the fade out, again, I think works thematically, which I don't normally love fade outs, but in this case I think it works. So I totally love this as the first song.
Absolutely. And that's another point. I think they managed to bring some nostalgic feels to the table without really sounding dated at all. It seems very natural. Which, I don't know, there's an issue with a lot of bands where it's things sound forced, or it's you can tell that they're trying to be someone else. Like this, I don't know, the one thing I really like about this album is it comes off to me as a natural expression of what they want to do and who they are, right? I don't think they are trying to be something they're not, and I think that is a big part of its appeal, and also why it works, because typically modern pop punk to me is very kind of I don't know, regressive, or how could you say that?
Apologies to 99% of the modern pop punk bands in the world, but you're right. I mean, it's almost like a lot of modern pop punk is trying to harken back to the genre's heyday, because that's the age that the musicians would have been hearing it in, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to kind of bring that back, bring that sound back. It works as a kind of nostalgic trip, but as some kind of maybe progression, musical statement. There's not a lot of originality there, but I think this band smartly takes elements of that, like the kind of nostalgia factor being one of them, and it infuses enough of their own personality, enough of their own technical ability into the mix to make something that's musically really worthwhile. And like I said in the intro, they are great songwriters. So all of these songs, while they have a lot of riffs and there's a lot of playing going on, they flow really well as pieces in and of themselves, and each of them stands out as well in the grander context of the record. And so that's pretty much all I had on track 1. Track 2, you said, is one of your favorites on the album. So what do you think of Ground Pound the Pillars?
Well, this one, yeah, like as I said before, it's one of the most immediate tracks on the record. Starts right off with almost like a pseudo breakdown. You get the vocals. And this was one of the first instances on the album where you kind of really got to hear sort of the guitar playing ability, which is what hooked me in. This is the first song I heard by this band. And you can just kind of hear them going crazy. The drums sync up with that guitar solo. I don't even know if I'd call it that. I don't know.
Yeah.
The way that, I don't know, the drums, they're playing some really unique rhythm to go with that lead. That sounds great. And then they bring that rhythm from the start of the song back near the end. Just another example of their great songwriting. Yeah, when I was sort of listening to this album continuously, and like I still do, I started listening to Ground Pound the Pillars constantly. That was my favorite song. And then I downloaded the album, and then eventually it became my favorite song. And it's, I don't know, I feel like that's the hallmark of a great album. Sort of every song that I put on became my favorite. And then I got to Almost There. Wonderful. Like, I would maybe take the first half of this album over the second half. But, because I think the first 5 songs I got hooked on, like, immediately as I listened to it. The second half, the same thing. Maybe it was a little less immediate than that. But to stay on the topic of Ground Pound the Pillars, I'm really hyped about this album. I'll just fly all over the place. It's wonderful. It's an amazing track. And I think I'm just gonna keep repeating myself, but it's the first. It gets the listener into. It gets the listener to realize how technical this band is in a subtle and musical still way. So you saw the video, you heard this song. What do you think of it?
Oh yeah, I've heard this song many a time. I love this song too. I think it's a nice counterpoint to song 1, which I think that the title track is probably the most again, like I said, straightforward song on the record. This one, I'm not going to say it's the most technical piece on the album, but it's certainly up there in terms of pure kind of virtuosity, especially that guitar playing, which is these riffs are fantastic. I don't get the song title, I'll say that. Maybe it's a reference I'm not understanding. It seems like a video game thing, maybe.
It's I think it's a Mario 64 reference.
Okay.
So
I figured it was
ground pounding's a Mario thing, but I think that is talking about Mario 64 on Nintendo, like more specifically. Yeah, that's the extent of what I know though.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I've heard ground pound in Mario, but so I guess that kind of that maybe one of the tropes of the genre they are pulling from then is that kind of we're playing Nintendo.
Pizza!
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of how to say it, but that just works. Just Nintendo and pizza.
I think it matches the feel of the song. Like,
yeah. That's kind of where I was going with it.
Purely aesthetic feel, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it detracts from the song or anything. I mean, it's clearly, and you can see in the video, they're smiling. They're kind of having fun with it. They're not taking themselves too seriously.
And that was a big part of what drew me in. It sounded like they were just having a great time jamming, or that's what it looked like in the video. Like, It was very
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think it's rare that you have that kind of, I don't know, frivolity when you mix it with this, like with the technical abilities that these guys obviously have. I think that's kind of an unusual combination, which works here. I think the song is great. Again, I think it flows really well. I like that there's kind of not a traditional chorus or anything in it. The song structure is unusual, yet it flows, yet it works.
Yeah, this one has that
Um,
extended instrumental passage, right?
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, which is great. And again, I think it's awesome. At the end of this, we should rank the album. That'll be fun.
Oh
We'll
man.
go through and rank it from best to worst. Uh,
There's a couple
uh,
songs in the second half that like I might not be able to comment on as much, but
no, that's okay.
yeah,
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 yeah. We don't do any background. We just jump right in. That's
yeah.
why we don't know who the band members are. Um, this is a rustic style podcast.
Yeah.
There's a couple I won't be able to say as much on either, but that's okay. I love them all anyway. Almost There is song 3. What do you think about this one?
And this, yeah, this is a really good song as well. Um, that guitar playing in the intro, that now that I think about it, could top Ground Pound the Pillars. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, all those leads and like I don't know, it's sort of like this staccato kind of playing. I don't know. I know it's only a three piece, but they sort of harmonize the guitar parts at like all the perfect spots for me. I don't know. They pick their spots for that really well. Um, and they also, I don't know, they managed to sound like very busy as a three piece, which a lot of bands can't do even when they're like a five or six piece. Like I don't know, it's
Yeah.
impressive. Like they the way they can fill space effectively. Um, really catchy song. I like at the end they have the little woo and they do that breakdown with the guitar harmonics. That's a great time, and that sort of continues to encapsulate like the carefree vibe of the album. It's not like jokey, but I feel like it's we're not taking this insanely serious. So we're not going to be super brooding. Like it's I don't know. It's happy, I guess. If it's sort of like a bittersweet happiness that I get across this album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What were your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit on most of what I was going to say. The breakdown at the end is great. The woo, and then dan da da like those little guitar licks in the middle are great.
Yeah.
Um, this one had a video too, right? I think this was
This is that video with the clown that was in it. I think I only watched it once,
yeah.
but it was I don't know. It was interesting. Like I don't remember much of it, but I think there was a clown walking around town, and I think he was on a roof at one point.
Yeah, I think that's
Something like
right.
that.
And
Yeah.
it was a higher budget video, it looked like to me, than the Ground Pound the Pillars video. I actually liked it. I like this. The video is kind of fun. I get why it's the third song. It's kind of the single, maybe, of the album, and you always put your singles in the third slot.
It's other than like the
So
beginning and the ending. It's like it's a pretty straightforward song.
yeah, yeah. I think this is like the first song is one of the more straightforward ones on the
Yeah.
record, but there is a lot of technical stuff happening. Um, I like the guitar tone. I'll comment on that here, and I think it's a similar thing in the next song, "Lifesaver," where it's kind of like not a clean tone, but it's also sort of a clean tone. I don't know. You would know what this is more than me, but it's not very distorted. Like
Yeah, it's very
there's a
light distortion, and it's
yeah.
I think it's more overdriven than distorted.
Okay.
They
Okay.
probably like from what I heard, they put a light distortion on it, and they probably run some overdrives that kind of give it that more natural dirtiness.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Whatever they did is really cool. It gives it like a more naturalistic feel than, if they turned that distortion up, it would have almost sounded more metal.
The notes come
Um,
through a bit clearer that way. The cleaner you go.
yeah, yeah. The notes come through more, and because there's only one guitar player, there's not a lot of distractions going on with like chords all over behind everything all the time, which you get in a lot of bands. too many guitar players. That's we won't go there. Yeah, I think it works. I think it works really well for this band and this song specifically. This is another uh, excellent addition to the album. Track number 4, "Lifesaver," is going to be one of the ones I don't have as much to say on. Again, I've been listening to this album frequently on like not nonstop, but virtually nonstop for the last couple weeks. This one feels like a continuation of the last song to me, which isn't a bad thing. I think
Yeah.
it's also very catchy. You've got a lot of intricate riffs going on. The vocals sound great again. Um, there is something I want to quickly stomp down on here,
To ground
which is
pound.
yeah, exactly. I was looking for a humorous remark, and you gave it right to me. I want to pound the ground right now with my foot. This is one of the issues I have with this album,
Okay.
and that is the production,
Yeah.
which I can tell that some of these songs were recorded at different times. Like some of them have a different kind of kicked sound or something. There's like minor sonic differences. It seems that they may have tried to correct for that in a remix or a remaster or something, which kind of overlays the differences a little, but not enough that you can't tell.
Yeah, to interrupt, I did a deep dive on this band when I found the album, because I was like, oh, like, what else they got? I want to hear something else, right? Their Bandcamp had an EP before this, and it had the title track on it, and I want to say 2 or 3 other tracks, but they were just also off this album. So they
Yeah.
might have re-recorded some things, but just moved it over. But I don't know for sure.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe we could ask them sometime.
Yeah. Ask them. I think I remember that was what you sent me. I think was that wasn't it called Cheers and Fears for the past year, from the past year, or something like that.
I don't. It was, yeah. It had a long title, and I feel like the EP cover was yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It was on
weren't they
their
called
Bandcamp.
FS
Yeah, they might have been.
or something?
You know what? We're here.
Um,
I'm gonna type it into Google.
Yeah, do it and let me know, and I'll just continue talking because I think that my theory is proven correct in this case because I can tell that like this song "Lifesaver" sounds different than the first 2 tracks, for example. Even I think "Almost There" sounds a little different too. And I really hear it with "Melatonin" specifically. That one I can really tell was recorded probably earlier than, or I'm guessing earlier because it sounds like a cheaper recording or something.
Yeah.
The kick drum is much more kind of obviously triggered, and there's some kind of weird stuff in the mix going on. It doesn't like ruin the album for me or anything, but I just it's a like minor detraction, and it was probably budget, and yeah, they probably reused some songs from the EP, and that's all well and good. But something to point out a little bit, it's a little tiny bit distracting when you're listening, and I'm like, oh, this one probably came from somewhere other period, like.
Yeah.
It's like, a little bit of a I don't know, a peek behind the curtain of the economic realities of being in a band.
It's expensive.
Pop punk
Recording is
band.
expensive.
Yeah. Well, we know.
Let's. Oh, I was gonna speak to that actually. For me at least, like the hallmark of a really good album is when it stands like as one giant piece of music that you can listen to from front to back, and like it. And it also stands as like a bunch of singles that you could listen to individually without taking one out of context and it not hitting as hard or sounding as good to you. Which I feel like you could take any song from this and listen to it on its own. And yeah, there's some production differences across the songs, but it's not a deal breaker for me at least. I think it manages to do both effectively. And then on the next one, they're gonna record it all in one shot, I imagine. So it'll be even better, right?
Yeah. Well, they are putting out a new thing. We've heard a couple of preview tracks from it. The production quality is significantly enhanced for sure, and that's great. I think it doesn't ruin the album for me. Like I said, it's not a deal breaker for me either, but it is sort of a little like
You notice it,
I
yeah.
don't know, minor kind of indiscretion or something that
Well, it's
I
things that
pick up
stop it
on.
from being a 10 out of 10, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a little detail things here and there that are a little minor bit irksome.
Yeah.
But what did you? So, any comments on Lifesaver?
Oh yeah, I
And
gotta
also,
talk about
did you ever
Lifesaver.
find that EP too? That
Yeah. So
Googling?
I'll comment on that first. These boys need to monopolize the Bandcamp market because they are fighting with a hardcore band from San Diego, California that only has live albums, and
Oh,
Frontside, a Polish metalcore deathcore band from
oh my goodness.
Sosnowiec, and I probably didn't pronounce that well.
They
Yeah,
should
so
all
I
get
can't
together and put out like a split or
with
like
all
a
three.
triple split, all three of them.
Yeah. So that I can't find their Bandcamp for those reasons.
Wow.
But I'll comment on Lifesaver a little bit. I think I would say Ground Pound the Pillars and Almost There are sort of more instrumentally driven tracks, and I think this kind of goes back to the title track. It's more like the vocals are front and center.
Mhm.
Very catchy lines leading up into the chorus, and he's sort of belting a lot in this song. It's one that wasn't a highlight, but still a great song for me. So it got lost in the shuffle a little bit. It's more vocally driven, and I think it's very catchy. And fun fact, he uses a bit of Latin in this song. He says ipso facto, it was never mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
So,
that song with
smart boy.
the ipso facto in the
Yeah,
chorus. Ipso facto. That's my impression. I like that kind of little idiosyncrasy in there. It was nice. I would say this, and I think also when we go to rank the songs, we should talk about like alternate sequences. Like that's always fun to reorder the album a little bit.
Oh, of
I
course.
probably would have. I would not put this here if I were ordering this album. Well, I'll get to where maybe I would, but I'll ground pound on that point here too. That maybe this would work potentially somewhere else. Maybe slightly better, but hey, whatever. It's certainly not a bad song by any means. And the next song, Mirrors Ruined Us, is one of my favorite songs on the album. I'll let you comment on this one first. What do you think about Mirrors Ruined Us?
Great song. I think it closes off the first half of the album really well. One of my favorite parts of this album, I always talk about like top 5 favorite parts. That bridge.
Yeah.
How do I even do it? It's yeah. I don't know how to explain it past that, and they have the drums doing that little offbeat thing. It's just super catchy. That grabbed me, and the song also just starts off like it's one of the most immediate songs on the album.
A big mistake.
Yeah. Taste the sound. Yeah. And the chorus like is super catchy, and then I don't know, it transitions to that breakdown really well. Then my heart da, 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 da. I'm having trouble using my words. I have to do imitations. Yeah. I would put this in like the top half of like the songs on the album if I was ranking them. I think it's one of the most fun ones because it's sort of bittersweet while sort of having this sort of bouncy, happy vibe. But the lyrics are sort of, I don't know, they seem to be about a breakup or a relationship or something. I don't know. It's, I think it's one of the most fun ones on the album, along with Ground Pound the Pillars. What do you think?
No, I think this in fact might be, I might have to, it's so hard to pick a favorite song. This is one of my favorite songs on here. I do like how immediate it is. I love the ending to this song, that whole kind of, like, I don't want to sing again, but the, please don't, na 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 na, that's really you. Like that whole ending thing. That is amazing. That kind of, to me, harkens back to the title track a little bit. The progression at the end reminds me of the ending of that song. Interesting. The lyrics are probably about some kind of breakup, take off your makeup, I think he says during the The
Yeah.
ending of the song. I think again, I think this idea of verse, right? We're seeing again reflections on something, the idea of some cyclicality. So I think as a thematic addition, it works well. Maybe if he's talking Latin, maybe he's familiar with some Jacques Lacan in the Mirror Stage. Maybe he's talking about that and the the ideal eye ruining us. In any case, I think this is an amazing track again. And the other part, a specific section I'll highlight is that drum bit. The God, I have to sing again. Oh my God, it's like the something up in the outside. Now I've got a feeling that you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like,
That's my favorite part of this
yeah.
song.
Oh, that was yeah. Right, yeah. You mentioned this part. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the drums are doing that like gallop, like
Yeah, yeah.
like that part is really cool. There's
He
like a
really
bell on
shines
the
there.
ride. Yeah, yeah. It's a great riff. And that is not easy to sing over. So shout outs to anonymous guy who sings in this band who we don't know what his name is. He did a great job. This is an awesome song,
Frontside
and
front
not
man.
yeah. Frontside's frontman doing a good job. And yes, and the next song is called Light and Busy. And this one is probably one of the ones that I uh, got into like later on. This one, my first pass through the album kind of blended in for me. It's as of late it started standing out to me more. What do you think about Light and Busy, track 6?
This one, I don't have a lot to comment on it. It's a good song. Every song on this album is a good song. I don't know. There's not much going on lyrically. It's from what I remember, it has more sort of instrumental passages. Um, it's good. I we didn't prepare much for this podcast, unfortunately. So
No, we did not. We just kind of jumped right into it.
there
I
is a
am,
bit of
but
a
I
stretch like in this album, namely kind of tracks 6 to 8 that I if I had to pick a weaker part of the album, it would be that stretch. Um,
really song 8, eh? That when we get to that, that's gonna be interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's more just I don't remember much from it. It's tracks 1 through 5, and then 9 and 10 jumped out at me the most. And
Yeah.
it's a good song. I remember it being good. I don't have much to comment on it, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
I could sing at the beginning like, "Dear God, there's something that I don't understand." Like that's exactly how the beginning of the song sounds. Yeah, no, I think this song is great. It's kind of a lower key song, at least in the verses. The choruses are great. It's got a crazy tapping part in the chorus of this one. Uh, like
All
it just it
right,
goes
yeah.
absolutely.
I should have listened to this one more time before we recorded this, but I'm just gonna commit. Let's keep going.
No, okay. Next is wow. Okay, the next song, "Communion is a Waste of Wine," and I'll be completely honest. I until this exact moment thought this song was called. I thought it was called "Communion is a Waste of Time,"
uh,
because I'd never actually properly like looked at the track listing because I'm listening to this while I'm driving and like it's on my phone and I'm not looking at it. So okay, communion is that makes a lot more sense. Okay, communion is a waste of wine. This is the longest song on the album. Yes, I'm not wrong about that. It is a fantastic track. It's catchy. It's if you want to say this album has an epic, which I wouldn't go that far, but I guess this would be the closest thing. It's a dynamic song. It's got a fair amount of cleaner guitar parts going on.
yeah.
It's not slow or anything, but I think it's nice. I probably would have put this. Oh yeah, we're gonna do track sequences later. I'll just say I don't think I would have put this song in this spot on the album. I don't think it shines well in the 7th slot. It seems a bit of a kind of random. We don't know where to put this, place to position this. as a song itself, I think it's great. I think it's catchy. I think again it continues a lot of the same themes. What do you this you mentioned this is a weaker stretch. Do you remember this song at all?
I don't. I was just thinking what I should do is I should give song reviews as overdubs for this through 8. Once we're done here, my memory is just shot for these 3 songs. I apologize.
No, that's okay. We are. This is a like we said a rustic.
This is a very rapid fire like review. I'm gonna be more prepared for my own pick and for the one after that.
Yeah. I was just really hyped to talk about Frontside.
I really
honestly,
like this
so.
album. But like when I throw it on, I'm throwing off in the front half, or I'm throwing on like Melatonin, and like I like Rocky and Tempo too. That one's good. But yeah, it's unfortunate tracks 6 through 8 just they sort of just got lost in the shuffle for me. It's not that they're bad songs. I just prefer the other ones.
I think yeah. I think you're gonna like go back and listen to song 8 because I thought that was gonna be your favorite song, and I guess we can get to song 8. Song 8 is like the most technical song on this album. The opening guitar part in this is nuts. It opens it like it sounds like a Fall of Troy song, or I don't know what's another kind of technical like an Adabisi Shank song or something.
Do you know what? We have some time. We could how about I just throw the song on?
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't think they're gonna sue us. Like this is promotion for them. So
yeah, play it. Play like 30. Play the first like 30 seconds of this one. That's a good idea.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to hear it, but let's try.
Let's see. It's just coming out of my laptop. Can you hear that?
No, not really.
Okay, I can't hear you right now. So. You want me to say? Oh, I remember this. Why do I not care about this song? I should care about this song. There's just sort of a blank in my memory, unfortunately. As promised, I am going to do some overdubs after we're finished recording here.
Oh, right, yeah.
But we'll include all of this preamble in the episode because it adds some character, you know.
That'll be funny. Then we won't get sued because we're talking over the track.
Yeah. So why don't I don't know. You can talk about Needed to Do Today. What do you think about it?
I love this song. I think it's I think it is the most kind of guitar heavy technical track on the record. I'm curious. I'm just gonna pull up the lyrics really quickly because I want to see the kind of if I can relate this song to something I have in my head right now. The title is kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Whoops, that's not what I wanted. That's some other band. Needed to Do Today. Also, this is a good test. Does this band have easy access to like lyrics and stuff via Google? Okay, here we go. Genius.com.
Oh, yeah, that's
hey, what do you want me to say? Okay, yeah. Should I roll over and take your side? Once again, rolling over, right? Circles. We're rolling. Take your side. Once again, the same damn thing. Who do you want to... So, okay, I think this album is about a relationship. I think we can just make that I can propose that hypothesis at this point. Some kind of relationship that's probably an on and off thing that is happening. It's Ross and Rachel. It's just we don't know if it's ending or if it's beginning or what's going on. Maybe. We are essentially together, but not right now. So eventually, we will actually be together. I think that's what the entire idea of this album is.
Imagine, sorry to interrupt.
What?
If like we had them on the podcast and like you like compared him, hey, you remind me of Ross from Friends. I just not that you did. You were just like comparing the themes to like that relationship. That's just the example of a relationship. But I feel like just the thought popped into my head. I feel like the last thing like most guys want to be compared
if we
to
ever have them on the
is
podcast,
Ross from
be like,
Friends.
hey,
Ross.
it's Ross. What's up? Hey, David Schwimmer, how's it going? Yeah. No, I think I
Sorry,
get that. I'm
go on.
No, it's okay. I'm dying of laughter over here. I think that's what this album is about. I just was curious again because I think every song is somehow about this in some way.
Yeah.
And including this one, right? As we're just saying, this. Pour upon the game we've been sold. You've been ripping us off once again. So I think maybe lyrically this one's a little weaker, to be frank. But I think on a technical level, this is probably the most impressive song on the album. I love the riffs. I love the build up at the end. There's a kind of a slower build where there's some falsetto vocals and there's an ambient guitar and the drums build, and then we go into a nuts tapping line, and
Oh yeah.
then it's sort of like a de facto guitar solo, but it's more. But then a harmony comes in, and there's two tapping harmonies going on, and the drums are hammering away, and then the ending is great too, where he's belting out the lyrics. Where I'm trying to see what they are. Yeah, we'll see them. I'll pretend. Give them a show. Let's keep it a secret. They will not know. Again, let's keep it a secret. So yeah. I think this is an awesome track. You should definitely listen to this thing again when we're done with the podcast. This is one of my probably top 4 or 5 on the album.
All right. Yeah, of course. I am going to mark. I'm going to say it around 40 minutes. I have to talk about needed to do today, and then I'll just sort of have to backtrack from there. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna like put a gap in like our conversation, and then just like start talking about needed to do today before I upload it.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah, put some like dream music in.
Yeah. It'll be a dream sequence.
Yeah. I like that idea. Okay. Melatonin, your favorite song on the album. Why
Yeah.
is it your favorite song?
Okay, so this is where like my memory kicks back in. I was like knocked out during these 3 songs apparently. I don't know,
Appropriate for melatonin.
this was not an immediate favorite for me. Like for a while it was Ground Pound the Pillars, for a while it was the title track or Almost There. And I think Mirrors Ruined Us, like tracks 1, 2, 3, and 5 like all held that mantle for a while. Yeah, I've landed on Melatonin now. That might change eventually, eventually. But are you there?
Yeah. I'm here.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I heard some cutting out sound. You didn't laugh at my joke. No.
Sorry.
Okay, but
Melatonin.
Melatonin.
You should overdub some like, audience applause or something.
Yeah.
in that
It's
moment.
I function off of other people's approval. So melatonin. The intro to this song, it sort of brings back like the Coheed and Keeping Secrets vibes. Like that's sort of what that reminded me of a lot. Super catchy. I love the lyrics. I love the vocal melody there. And then I don't know, song carries on, big choruses, super catchy, technical, subtly, and then it's that bridge. The in comes the light, oh, the ending of the night. That I don't know. That's my favorite part of the album. Yeah. The little guitar harmony comes in as just the one lead and then it harmonizes after. That's the way I like it. It's great. I don't know, it's the song that I end up going back the most to. It's, hey, I want to listen to Frontside. Oh, okay, Melatonin. Yeah, and the lyrics sort of they just sort of continue what you were talking about, how it's about some on and off relationship, and sort of a comment about how he would just be fine if he could make shit rhyme. It might just be that he's coping through like his own songwriting. That might be what he's hitting at here. I should write some genius annotations for this album. But yeah, for all of those reasons and more, this is my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, no, I think that nice. I think you're right about that kind of lyrical reading. I like this as the second last song because I think that this song is kind of not the denouement, but this is like the falling action of the album, or even maybe the climax. I mean, or
It's
at
well
least
placed.
yeah, it's kind of it's if not the climax, maybe it's kind of the realization maybe of this relationship isn't going to work out or something. It's like he's the Ross has decided, because that's what we're calling the frontman of this band now.
This is killing me.
Ross has decided that he's no longer gonna be part. I can't keep calling him Morgan and Ty.
Rachel, do you not love me? Like...
Oh my god, I'm falling out of the chair. Sorry. Okay. I think that I think this is the moment in the album when it's sort of like, okay, this is not working. We need to cut this cyclicality. We need to move on. Kill the sound. It just keeps the thought of you around. Take the memory from me. Some things are better off long gone. And I think this is kind of a meta song. It's self-referential. He'd be fine if he could write his lyrics. If he could, he says, conjure ways to phrase the things you've done. If he could somehow express the totality or power of this relationship through songs, he would be fine.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and then I'll also like, I think there's a kind of a religious element to this album. Like right on this song, is this like God you swore would help me get some peace of mind, and then you have the communion is a waste of wine.
It's peppered across the album.
Yeah, I think there's probably something there. I off the top of my head can't dive further into it, but I think that's worthy of analysis. Anyway, yeah, it says you're gone, but I'm still waiting. Sorry, I'm getting really into the lyrics now. This is like this album is opening itself up. Anyway, as a song, I think it's great. I actually think this song's a little too short. That's my probably only complaint about it.
It could do with another 30 seconds. Like
yeah, I was gonna say exactly the same thing. Another 30 seconds or so would have helped this track. Feels a little bit too brief. It ends sort of abruptly, I find, which maybe is a thematic point about it, right? Let's face the day song kind of ends with that nice guitar part, the clean guitar thing, which is great. But I just wish it was longer. That's probably my nitpick on this one.
Yeah, you get another chorus in there or something. But it might just be meant to kind of transition you into the closer, walking in tempo, right?
I think that was probably part of the design. Yeah, I think it would have been a more effective transition if it was, if there was a little more meat on the bone, maybe.
Fair enough.
Which is, again, I love the song. It's a compliment. I wish there was more of it.
Yeah. Leaves you wanting.
Yeah, and then anyway, I guess, yeah. Walking in tempo. What do you think about this one?
This is a great track. It's my second favorite of the second half. No, it's one that like stuck out to me out of them. I don't know. It starts off with that really heavy sort of rhythm playing, which I don't know. I'd view it as one of the heaviest tracks on the album, like one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Massive intro, massive outro. It sort of has like a little bit of everything about Frontside. And I don't know. It's sort of it's a counterpoint to the title track at the start. I feel like it's evil twin, or not its evil twin, like it's a brooding brother or something.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, yeah. What do you mean by that? That's interesting.
So I don't know, the sort of makeup of both the songs is like very similar. A theme in the intro that's sort of brought back, and I don't know, they're both more vocally driven songs, I would say. And essentially, eventually, is sort of more happy, carefree. While this, I don't know, I think Walking in Tempo is like a much darker song. And just the way it ends, too. It ends sort of with a bit of hopefulness with that huge part with the lead. I'm sort of just picking my own brain with this, but I think it was placed there deliberately to sort of be like a reflection or a refraction of eventually the title track. I don't know, like, what do you think about that? This sort of just popped into my head now, so what I'm saying is a bit garbled, but how do you feel about it?
I think that's an interesting reading. I think that is I think that's plausible. I definitely think there's some thought put into like kind of creating some apposition with the opening song for sure, and I do think there is a similarity.
They remind me of each other structurally. That's sort of what I'm getting.
Yeah,
yeah. Different moods.
They both have very kind of epic moments in them. I mean, the title track has that ending chord progression, which I think is very kind of majestic or something, and then you have one of the best moments on this album, maybe the best moment on this album, is in this song when the tempo kind of slows down, and then it's about in the middle of the track, about halfway through. You have the dun dun dun, and then the melody comes in, the na 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 na
That
na
part's
na
great.
na 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 na. Like that is so great, um, and maybe that's meant to be the climax of the album. I'm not sure, but I love that part, and I think there's some symmetry to the ending of essentially eventually there. So I see what you mean by they kind of work together in that way. I do think that my theory, as I read the lyrics, is being proven more and more correct. We have I'm in this one of the lines in this song. I'm not a fan of light switch romance. It seems so, an on and off relationship.
Ah,
Uh, take my time,
good
take my
catch.
words. Yeah. Right. I can't seem to comfort lies. I never let go. Some things we'll never know. So anyway, I keep, and the chorus in this song is awesome too. It's a great chorus, really catchy lyrics. I'll keep saying it's all worth waiting for. I think it's a great. I think it's one of the best songs, maybe the best song on the record. It ends with a very nice kind of, I think there's strings, if I'm not mistaken, in the ending of this song, um, which are nice, and they kind of create
Yeah.
a real sense of closure to the album. Although, yeah. Um,
What I
I
like about
haven't.
this
I'm
song
trying to.
too
Yeah.
is it sticks out from the others almost the most. It I don't know. It has the most different style. It has, I don't know. It establishes like a much different mood, I think, than the other 9 tracks. It just seems to be a bit more morose, a bit darker, right?
Yeah, I think this is the most ambitious song on the album. Partly again because there's more right with the strings. I think there's more kind of additional instrumentation. You have some whispered vocals on this one. You have like some really aggressive screams on this one. This is kind of like all the tools in the toolkit are coming out
Yeah.
on this song specifically. Um, and that's part of why I love this track. It also, again, really well written song. The parts flow. There's no real, like, there's a chorus to it, but it's the structure of the song um, isn't predictable. Like it
Yeah, it's free
moves and
flowing.
kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, it works really well. Um, and I think it's great. I think it would have been interesting if the band had ended with you know like ended with a fade out and then the album faded in. I think that would have. I mean, I guess that would have maybe worked against the idea of now I have closure now and I'm done with this light switch romance. Like I
Yeah.
think that is kind of the point of this song in this position on the album is that right I'm done with this relationship. I'm not going to go back to it, and this album is like my escape from that. But it would have been an interesting and maybe kind of like maybe more I don't know, more hopeful or more pathetic, depending on how you look at it, approach if they had faded out the last song and then the album would have faded in again, and you could have the album then would have resembled
That
the
cyclical
same kind of
nature kind of deal.
the
Yeah.
circle structure. Anyway, yeah, I guess that's really it on the songs. I mean,
I think
in terms
just
of
in terms of the
oh sorry.
closer, I think we could agree. Well, maybe you disagree. I don't know, but I wouldn't. If I ordered the album myself, I don't think I would move that anywhere. I think I'd keep that as the closer. I think that's perfectly placed.
Yeah, I would totally keep that as the closer. And that's my next question was, I mean, so I'm gonna kind of throw these into an iTunes playlist real quick and fiddle around with them a bit. I mean, do you have an alternate track listing to throw out?
Hmm. Okay, let me think here. Yeah, it's not going to be much different, but all right, I'll just do a quick one off the top of my head. Uh, Start off with ground pound the pillars. I put almost there second, and then I would move the title track to track 3. So that's
Okay.
usually where sort of a single esque track goes, and I think the title track qualifies as that. Um, Lifesaver and Mirrored Ruined Us. Lifesaver and Mirrors Ruined Us. They can stay the same. I'd keep everything the same. I maybe would switch Melatonin and Needed to Do Today, just to try it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because that Needed to Do Today, based off of my 20 seconds of re-listening and remembering the song, was one of the most technical. And I don't know, Walking in Tempo isn't. It's sort of more song-based, more vocally based, right? So it might be cool to have Needed to Do Today as like the denouement. What is it? The penultimate track? Is that what it would be called if it's the second last?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'd put it there just as an experiment, but I don't know. I'd say overall, I feel like they ordered this pretty well. But that's those are just random ideas I had.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What do you got going?
I think that I actually am having some trouble trying to reorganize this significantly. I think that communion is a waste of time. I think needs to move. That to me is the biggest issue.
It's called Waste of Wine.
Oh, did I say time? Oh my god, that's like stuck in my head that the song is called Waste of Time. Waste of Wine. Sorry. I think that song needs to move. So I'm trying to play. It's also, this is a 10-song album, which makes it a little bit. I kind of prefer an odd number because then I could put a real kind of dividing song in the middle. This is a little bit trickier, I think. It's also tough because there are multiple songs here that feel like they can kind of conclude the album almost. I know Walking in Tempo is good, but it's like the different parts of the record almost like Mirrors Ruined Us has a real kind of closer-ish feel to me almost.
That's true.
Like I want that to close the first half or something. Like I'm trying to figure out how to move everything around. I think Light and Busy can move into the first half. That might give it some more. That might make it stand out a little more. Almost There is okay as the third. Okay. What if I make Light and Busy? No, it doesn't work. Light and Busy is song 4, maybe.
All right.
And then I can put Mirrors Ruined Us as song 5. Communion is a Waste of Time as song 6.
Waste of Wine.
Sorry, Ross.
Yeah. What if we had Ross on the show and you kept calling his song the wrong name?
Waste of Time is song 6, and and then, gosh, Needed to Do Today. I want to move to. I don't want it to be that, like, it's actually really tough.
That might be part of why I overlooked it. It's like because of its
placement.
Like...
That's an issue. Like, I don't want it to get overlooked in that 8th spot, right? It might have to, though. I don't really see another good way around this. I mean, maybe. All right, how about this? I'm going to propose 2 different ideas. So here's idea number 1. This is like the minor track adjustment to Essentially Eventually. So moving a couple things. So I have song 1 is the title track still. Song 2 is still Ground Pound the Pill. Song 3 is still Almost There. The first 3 are the same.
Yeah.
Song 4 becomes Light and Busy. Then song 5 becomes Mirrors Ruined Us. Song 6 becomes Communion is a Waste of Wine/Time.
Yeah.
Song 7 becomes Needed to Do Today. Song 8 is Lifesaver, and then the Melatonin and Walking in Tempo stay the same.
So you moved Lifesaver down. That's basically what you did.
I moved Lifesaver down. I moved Communion up and Light and Busy up. And I think Mirrors Ruined Us got moved up. Or no, that was still song 5. So I moved 3 of the songs. That's like the minor adjustment.
Okay.
Now the like crazy adjustment that I'll now throw out that I'm going to do on the fly here is like inverting the whole album almost. So what if we put, because I kind of almost want to make Essentially Eventually the last song in this formulation. So what if we put Walking in Tempo like way up? What if the album, you said you wanted to start with Ground Pound the Pillars, so what if we started the album with Ground Pound the Pillars?
All right.
Which seems like the most carefree. Maybe this is the pre-relationship song. You're playing Nintendo, you're not like thinking about anything. So what if that's the song 1, and then song 2 maybe we can put what do you think, what's a good song to put after Ground Pound the Pillars?
I'm just trying to think right now. How about, I don't know, what if we put like Lifesaver? Or
Lifesaver is the second song. That's a bold move, putting
yeah.
Lifesaver second. That really gives Lifesaver a highlight spot right there. I actually think, what if Almost There was second?
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I had in mind. So I put those.
Yeah.
I just moved those two up, and then I put Essentially Eventually at 3.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll put Ground Pound the Pillars first in
yeah.
this crazy idea. Almost There second. And then third, I will put I have a good idea coming. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is like a two, we've kind of said there's like kind of parts to this. Walking in Tempo is going to be song 5. That's going to be like the last song of the first part.
Oh, interesting.
And
Okay.
then I want Mirrors Ruined Us to be song 6 to open the second half of the album.
Oh,
It's almost like, we are like getting back together again after I said that I'm never going to do this, because like it was the mirrors that ruined it. Was like our images of ourselves and our egos that ruined us. So now we're starting again. I want to quickly circle back here. So right now I have Ground Pound the Pillars song 1, Almost There song 2. And sorry, this is probably getting way too like
here,
convoluted
give
right
your
now.
whole order at the end or whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Okay, I realize like I'm getting lost and I
I'm
forgot we're
following,
doing
but
a
I don't know if the
podcast.
listener will. But
Yeah, I think it's getting too boring. So let's just not talk about this. Okay, quickly, what's your ranking of the album?
oh,
That's a good way to end it. Is like, how would you, either worst to best or best to worst? How
all
would you rank this album?
right. Let's All right, I'm just gonna do this. This is this theme where I just do everything really fast. But I think like my gut choices are gonna stay my choices. Okay. Number 1, Melatonin. Number 2, Almost There. Number 3, Essentially Eventually. Number 4, Mirrors Ruined Us. Number 5, Ground Pound the Pillars. Number 6, Walking in Tempo. Number 7, Lifesaver. Number 8, Needed to Do Today. Number 9, Light and Busy. Number 10, Communion is a Waste of Wine. That I did that really fast, but I'm gonna stick with that.
I think that's solid. So Communion is a waste of time, eh? You're
Yeah,
lowest on the
yeah.
yeah.
No one can even remember the title. Like,
Okay. Yeah, okay. My ranking, I'm gonna do. I think number 1, I'm gonna put. Oh God, this is tough. Okay, I will put the title track first, and then I'll put Walking in Tempo second. I'll do that.
all right.
Then my third song, I will say. Okay, let me actually pull up the whole thing. I'm gonna say. So title track, and then Walking in Tempo, and then number 3 maybe Mirrors Ruined Us. Number 4 is probably Needed to Do Today. Number 5, Ground Pound the Pillars. Number 6 is oh gosh, probably I guess Almost There 6. Melatonin.
No
Actually, you know what?
Melatonin
No.
left.
I just think it's too short, right?
Fair
Like, so
enough.
I think actually Light and Busy might be 7, and then probably Communion is a Waste of Wine, and then Melatonin, and then Lifesaver. That's probably how I would do
Wow,
it.
my favorite song is Shafted at 9.
I would put it higher. It's too
Yeah,
short.
it's a short song.
It's still like a 4 out of 5. I just want like another 30 to 45 seconds on it.
No, fair enough.
And also it has worse production than the other ones. I think that song has some weird production glitches in it with the kicks that bug me a little bit.
I'm trying to think. Like, is this in 2018? Like, is this an album you would put in your top 5 and your top 10? We won't. We don't need to say like what's better or what's worse than it. But like, is this off the top of your head? Would it be something that you would consider
you
putting in
mean
your top 10? Say if we did a podcast of our top 10 albums that year. Because that's
Oh right, you okay, okay. So
yeah,
not top 10 of all time, but top 10 of 2018.
yeah.
I think so. I pulled up my top 2018 list now for my old Rate Your Music profile,
Yeah.
and I'm just looking at what else I had in it. In my from that year, I had my number one was Daughters. You Won't Get What You Want. Then I had like the Bodies album. I had the Drought by Puce Mary. I had a Buckethead album in there. Yeah, this would probably fall if I were going to do this right now. This is like maybe my third or fourth favorite album, even my
Oh,
number two
yeah.
maybe of 2018. I really like this album.
Yeah, I think it'd be a top 5 for me. I'm not sure where, but it would land in there. Maybe we could
Yeah,
do
for
that
sure.
podcast one time, a 2018er. But
How do retrospective best of that's an
yeah,
interesting idea.
if we're
Yeah.
getting too excited,
Also,
like dropping too many episodes, we can just start going backwards.
there's a lot to cover. I mean, from 2018, here are some other quick highlights from that year. Greta Van Fleet's "Anthem of the Peaceful Army"
Oh
came out that
yeah,
year. Triple X Tentacion's Skins, the money grab by the label, the infamous unfinished 20-minute long
that was
album.
bad. Oh,
Yeah, that was bad. You have one of the worst Census Fail records. If There Is Life, It Will Find You came out in
oh, what
2018.
was that song? Like Green Jacket, something jacket. I forget.
Gold Jacket, Green Jacket.
That was pretty wince-inducing. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, this is a this is pretty bad, and that's an example of there's some pop punk that is like repeating what was popular 15 years ago, and not doing anything new, and really annoying. So there's bad pop punk. A few other quick notes. You have Coheed and Cambria's Vaxis, Act One, The Unheavenly Creatures, Clowncore's Toilet, Tremonti, A Dying Machine.
Great album.
Yeah, which I wrote as a note. I put, you've heard this 100,000 times before on 102.1 Blando FM, which I think is fair enough. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, this would be my top 10, probably top 5.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think
And yeah,
we've been talking for like 70 minutes.
okay,
I think we've
that's
covered
probably
the album.
good.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. If you enjoyed, we can continue this series. We will for at least a couple more episodes of Diamonds in the Rough. But yeah, I'll see what people think. Thank you for
Yeah,
listening.
yes.
Bye. Bye.